Alright guys, what's going on? This is Otis here, and today I've got a nice little gameplay with the Scar on Operation Metro. And I know I've been using Metro probably a little too much lately. I gotta get more back towards my my helicopter and vehicle gameplay, but it's just so easy at these like high skill, pretty awesome games on the Scar with Metro. And that's just because, you know, you have that like real tight close quarters combat, which is the reason why I can't wait for the first DLC coming. And you know, this is the first time that I've used the Scar since about like a month or so after the game was released, when it was like way overpowered. And I am absolutely just loved it on hardcore so far. I've only used it for a few games. This was the the first game that I came back on it. What I'm using is the foregrip, red dot, and silencer, obviously. And it was a pretty good gameplay. In the very first beginning, I get like 15 kills in the first like 5 minutes of the game. And, you know, it's slowed down tremendously from there, and our team just had an overall just real slow, timid pace, and so we captured B maybe like once or twice the whole entire game, and we just pretty much got demolished because we were just way too timid. But commentary today is about, you know, what are my hobbies outside of gaming and YouTube now. And I would have to say definitely my first big one is fishing. Like, I'm a big fisherman, and usually the late summer into fall is when I have my big fishing trips. I usually come up because Southern California here, we pretty much can catch almost anything that you want. Everything from like trout and like catfish, bass, to, you know, your lake stuff, all the way to your, you know, tuna and marlin out in the waters. And you only have to go down a tiny bit for, you know, for that stuff in the Mexican waters at least. And then I even got a few buddies who do like those like super extended like long trips, and we're talking like 10 to 20 days, which I can't do those for two reasons. One, even though I love fishing for my, you know, for more than anything, I don't know if I could be able to stand, you know, fishing for 10 to 20 days straight like on a boat. And that's just, I think, is a little too excessive, I would say. But typically, like, what I'll do is the max length trips I'll do is typically about 3 days. So I mean, when it gets more towards summertime and fall, I mean, there will be probably days where I just go without posting anything, and that's just going to be because I'm out fishing and having a good old time. And then pretty much like how the fishing goes like in Southern California here is, you know, there's a lot of man-made lakes just because everything has been dammed up and everything. And so pretty much what they have to do in California here is most of the lakes are actually stocked lakes, where they go and all the fish are raised in hatcheries, and they go and they drop them off over in the whatever lake you're pretty much fishing at. And they're pretty much called like pay-to-fish lakes, where you actually have to pay. It's like usually like $20 or whatever to go and fish for the day and stuff, and you usually keep like 5 fish. And pretty much though, what I've been transferring to is mostly saltwater, because when I first started growing up, I was in the mostly just in the freshwater scene. I was actually born in California till about like 4 or 5, and then I moved to Tennessee for a few years, and that's where I really started you know, fishing more as I got older. And then I moved back to California in, oh, I don't know, when I was like 8 or 9 or something. So I spent like 3 years in Tennessee. And then now that I've actually gotten older and I've got more money, then I'm able to, you know, do these like better, longer fishing trips. I'm able to go out in the ocean and stuff, and I just think it's more of like overall just like better experience just out like in the ocean. You know, there's so much sea life too, and that's one of my you know, one of my things in college too was in marine science, and so it's something that I've always enjoyed and I've always pursued in. And you know, I even go like on a lot of like whale watching trips. I've even gone on some scientific boats too, when we go out there and do studies on certain fish, animals, and whales, and those are pretty fun too. I got some pretty good stories that I'll probably do sometime about like what like the scientific boats are and like what they do, because it's pretty interesting, even with the whales and stuff. You know, 'cause I got a lot of stories too, just with like even with like SeaWorld, like what the whales and the dolphins go through and everything. And it's kind of just not like it's not really nice like what we do to them. But I mean, overall, I would definitely have to say it's like better for the species and whatnot. And typically most of my fishing is done on Tuesdays, actually, because a lot of the landings, usually Tuesdays and Wednesdays are their least busiest days. And so what they'll do for the ocean fishing out here is they have a whole bunch of specials going on all the time, where it's like half price, or like you know, you pay 2 tickets and you get like a third one free, something like that. And so typically what I'll do is I'll go out on Tuesdays, and I try to I catch a good one. I fish every time I go. That's because I pretty much know what I'm doing, and so that's pretty much more towards my summer, fall, and like winter diet is actually mostly like a fish-based diet. And then also what I've started to do last year is actually can my own fish, and so I've started to can my own tuna and can my own other fish, because it's basically all just the same concept for just putting water and fish in a jar and then getting a pressure cooker and sealing it. And it's something that I my first time last year doing it, it was pretty good and it's pretty easy. It was actually a lot easier than I thought. And so now that I'm able to do that, I'm able to preserve my fish even longer too, which is pretty nice. And I mean, fishing's pretty much my only hobby with like that type of stuff. I do go to SeaWorld and the zoos a lot, just because there's just a lot of things to fortunately do in California, at least. So I have passes to pretty much like everything, and I'm very active around here. But most of the fish that I end up catching here in California is the tuna, obviously. Albacore is usually the first set of tuna that comes in May, June, and then your yellowfin tuna and your bluefin tuna usually run after them between June, July, August, and then sometimes if you have a really warm summer, they'll run all the way up into September, which is sometimes happens. It's uncommon, but it does happen. And then the other typical fish that you usually catch on your smaller, like half, 3/4 day trips is little calico and sand bass, which are just kind of like our normal, like typical ocean bass that are around here that are actually very good eating. And pretty much another reason too why I love fishing is I'm able to have my own sushi, and it definitely cuts the cost down too when you're going on these like huge tuna trips. Like the initial cost is a lot and everything, but overall when it comes down to it, like you actually save a lot of money getting your own sushi, which is one good thing about like my fishing hobby, because it's pretty much the only hobby that I do besides work and everything. But I mean, this I know the video's already over, but thanks for watching, guys. If you're new to me, my channel, you end up liking this, please subscribe. Alright guys, thanks for watching.